Hi there, it's Eirik, the founder of Agriris and Longevify. So today I want to give you a short introduction into what this program is all about. And before that, I also want to share my story on how I got to this place where I'm now in a position where I want to help you with your health and your longevity journey as well. So let's rewind. In 2019, I got burned out. I had constant brain fog. I had a gut that was really firing off like a rocket all the time. I was bloated. I had IBS. Some of you may know what that is, but it's basically inflammatory bowel syndrome, which is kind of a broad term for your gut is not functioning. It is reacting to different foods, and I was constantly, in the bathroom and trying to get things in check, but it never did. So ultimately, I went down the path and I went to my doctor at one point when I got burned out, and he just said, "Eirik, you have to rest." And I went back home and I did. I was on the couch for a few months just playing video games and going for walks and trying to eat healthy and so on, but I didn't get better. So I started researching, read a few books, and I then found a functional medicine program in Oslo where I was living at the time. I started going to these guys and it was brilliant. They kind of flipped the whole framework of what I thought healthcare was supposed to be, focusing on making me the actient or the active patient and the person responsible for my own health and my own life, so to speak. They also gave me a tool set to understand how it had become the way that it had become. And ultimately, this is my goal for this program with you as well. So in all of this, Anniken and I, my wife, we had just had our first daughter, Eiris, and we then started kind of envisioning what a life would look like and how our everyday life would be. One of the triggers that had caused all of this was stress. So I was working in a very hectic sales, marketing, business development job. I was getting up 4 a.m, going to another city in Norway, having 8 meetings in a day, and coming back home at 8, 9 in the evening. And I was just exhausted. And I was just kind of compromising and then eating whatever I had to eat just to kind of get through the day, upping my caffeine intake, and the cycle was just kind of spinning out of control. So Anniken and I, we started to kind of look at how can we reduce stress? What is it that we do not want? And I really started to realize that what I did not want anymore was this life where I was just constantly grinding and all the time, just on the edge, stressed to deliver results, all the time working and not being at home and so on. So we started creating a vision, and that vision became moving to this small town in Norway, growing our own food, starting our own company. My wife Nikin is a plant scientist, and she also wanted to work in organic agriculture, both with her own garden, but also with meaningful work. So she found a job in a Norwegian research center for organic agriculture, and we packed our bags and we moved. And we haven't regretted it, to say the least. Now we have 2 daughters, but basically the first 2 years we lived here, when our first daughter wasn't born yet, our second daughter, Lilja, wasn't born yet, was quite hectic. We were fixing a house, we were getting installed and all these things. So there was a lot of work. We were building up our garden, but then we had our vision, and our vision was to get to the point where things were in balance, things were in check, our health was in check. And long story short, today it is. And we have, been working very determined to get there, but we've also made small tweaks and small adjustments to get to that point in our life. Some of you may wonder, so how did I actually solve my condition? So one thing of this was, of course, the component of putting things into vision and stress and so on. But the functional medicine process was also very, very critical. It was all about looking into my history, trying to identify the patterns, trying to make small tweaks that were not going to stress me, but we're going to help me lower stress and find that baseline and balance in life. So it wasn't about becoming extreme, but it was about going back to the roots of how I, as a person, genetically and so on, am supposed to live. Okay, so now enough about me. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because I want to kind of already now try to elicit the thoughts in your mind of where you are today. What is your anti-vision? Perhaps you're closer to your anti-vision now than your vision of life. Perhaps your health is not at the place that you want it to be. And ultimately, you're here because you're trying to get to some other place. You may be experiencing gut issues, you may be experiencing brain fog, poor energy, just something in your system that is kind of lurking and kind of flipping you off balance. And my goal with this process and this program and this application and this AI and all this stuff and the tools that we've created is to help guide you forward, and also to make this as fun and enjoyable as possible and as sustainable as possible. We have tried to kind of gamify this whole experience. So what does that mean? Well, basically, every time that you interact with this lesson, you go through a module, you complete a lesson, and so on, you will be earning points. And these points will be visible within the community leaderboard, and you will be able to see, how many points am I earning, what level am I coming at, and ultimately you'll see also that you're leveling up and you're earning rewards. And the rewards will all be visible within the community as well. So we want to make it fun and lasting to make small changes in your life. And in the next module now, we'll be digging into a few principles that we have, because it is very, very, very easy to become overwhelmed when we start talking about health and we start talking about you actually having to do some work to get better. I completely understand. I've made a lot of changes, but it has been incremental. I've done small, tiny changes over time, and then the compound effect of that has become very, very visible. So the point is that if you are in a place right now where you don't know what to do, or you feel overwhelmed because of all the information on both sides, these gurus talking about you having to become this or that, you have to monitor your glucose, you have to do all of these fancy things in order to get results, then I just want to kind of calm you down and bring you back to ground, because there are simple principles that you can look at that will yield very, very high results. And you don't have to become extremely fancy. And that's why my goal with this process is also simplicity. So with that, I hope this excites you. I'm very happy that you're here, and I appreciate you sincerely. And let's just dive in and shape a life of longevity and health for you. See you in the next one.